It was Monday, 22nd August, 2022. With a jolt, I woke up as my alarm rang at 4:30 a.m. Not bothering to open my eyes, I reached for the button and silenced the alarm. 5 minutes more, please, I groaned as I turned to go back to sleep. Tracy nudged me in the ribs. Get up, you're going to be late, she said. I ripped off the sheets, swung my legs off the bed, and sat on the edge rubbing my eyes. My head felt like a herd of buffalo running a marathon. I walked to the bathroom, had a pee, and headed for the kitchen to brew some coffee. With a hot, steaming cup in hand, I headed to the deck. I pulled up a chair and put my feet on the opposite chair, lit a cigarette, and blew the smoke into the sky. The air was fresh, everything was quiet at that time of the morning. I swallowed my last mouthful of coffee, killed my cigarette, and headed for the shower. Kissing Tracy on the cheek, I headed for the door. The early morning traffic wasn't too bad. I reached the office at 5:45, brewed some coffee in the office canteen, and headed to my office. There were 13 unread emails in my inbox. The first one caught my eye. A message from George, the CEO of our bank. It read, "Kelvin, we have a crisis on our hands. Last night, Banco Azteca Finanzas was hacked. All servers are down. Cyber criminals are threatening to delete all data if a ransom isn't paid. As head of cybersecurity, I want you to fly to Mexico, where you will meet with the CEO, Hector Martinez. Linda has booked your room at Hotel Xcaret, Mexico. Keep me posted. George." "Great," I said as I reached for my phone. I dialed Tracy's phone. "Hey, are you at the office?" she answered. "Yeah," I replied. "I have to fly to Mexico this morning. There is an emergency I need to attend to. We'll let you know when I am back," I explained. "Okay, darling. See you when you get back. Love you," she said and hung up. I packed my laptop, called a cab, and arrived at the airport with time to spare. After landing at Cozumel Airport in Mexico, the cab drive took me to Hotel Xcaret, Mexico. I booked into the garden suite, which looked like a jungle outside, very relaxing. I was exhausted by then, so I ordered room service. 30 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. "Room service," the voice said on the other side of the door. As I opened the door, I was charged by 3 men dressed in black, wearing ski masks. "Get on the floor now," the first guy shouted. My heart was pounding in my chest. "What the hell?" I asked. "Shut your mouth," the same guy shouted. I felt a blow to my head and then darkness. I lost track of time in the darkness, but it must have been some time after midnight. There was dripping water at the opposite side of the room, and a musty smell hung in the air, growing more suffocating with each passing hour. Panic set in as I struggled to make sense of my surroundings. Suddenly, a dim light flickered, and I could see the outlines of my prison. I was surrounded by cold, damp walls, and the floor was rough beneath my fingertips. There was no mattress. I was lying on the filthy, urine-smelling floor. I strained my ears, hoping to catch any sound that might offer a clue about where I was. "Welcome to your temporary home, Kelvin," a deep voice with a heavy accent said. "Who are you?" I managed to croak. My throat was dry. "We're the ones in control now," the voice said. "You're here because you hold the key to what we want." My mind raced as I tried to understand what the hell he was talking about. By this time, I was in a flat spin. I didn't sleep much that night. The floor was hard and cold. The stench from the overflowing urine bucket made me want to puke. Rats were crawling over me, and I was covered in flies buzzing around my head. Each passing minute felt like an eternity. At least there was a dim light coming through one of the broken windows high against the wall. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and 3 masked figures came walking towards me. "Get up," one of them ordered, his voice cold. They untied my hands, forcefully pulling me to my feet. "You have 24 hours, senor," the leader hissed. "If the bank doesn't transfer the funds to the specified account, your wife pays the price." I started shaking, my head buzzing. They handed me a phone, showing a series of instructions. My trembling fingers struggled to type the messages they dictated. I was desperately hoping for a way out. With each failed attempt, the pressure intensified. My hands shook, sweat dripped down my face, and the fear for Tracy's safety gnawed at me. The masked figures watched my every move, their patience wearing thin. "What is taking so long, senor?" I ignored the man. He didn't like that and kicked me in the ribs with his boots. The second scumbag hit me across the face with a pipe opening a wound that sent blood dripping in my eye. Pain shot through my body as I hissed through my teeth. I felt a mixture of despair and determination. I had to find a way out. The room seemed to close in on me, and I gasped for breath. In a moment of desperation, I made a plan. "I need more time," I pleaded with the masked figures. "Time is running out, Kelvin," the leader shouted. I convinced them that I needed to be alone to concentrate. The door creaking shut behind them as they left, I scanned the room for any potential means of escape. My fingers were shaking as I carefully worked on loosening the ropes around my wrists. Time wasn't on my side, but my determination outweighed the fear. Finally, the knots gave way and I cautiously stood, testing my newfound freedom. I immediately fell down. "The bastards broke my ribs," I muttered, trying to get up again. I screamed in pain but managed to get to my feet. I tried the door, and to my surprise, it was unlocked. I heard muffled voices at the end of the corridor. Peering through the crack, I saw the masked figures arguing among themselves. Seizing the opportunity, I slipped into the dark corridors of what I thought is a dungeon. Exhausted and disoriented, I stumbled upon a room with a dim glow emanating from a computer screen. My heart raced as I saw the words Banco Azteca Finanzas on the monitor. Quietly, I accessed the system, skillfully countering the cyber threats the criminals had left behind. The digital battle continued, each keystroke crucial in saving Tracy and stopping those assholes from getting their hands on the cash. In a twist of fate, a message appeared on the screen. "Hector Martinez, access granted." Oh my fuck. The CEO of the bank is involved. That explains how they knew where to find me. I contacted the police and they managed to track my location via the computer. 10 minutes later, the dungeon was swarming with cops. The masked hooligans were arrested and Hector Martinez was taken into custody. If my ribs weren't broken, I would have jumped for joy. As the sun began to rise, I emerged from the shadows battered, bruised. The nightmare was over. Tracy was safe.